Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In today's video, me and Korban are going to be going through every single Bradford City first team player and ranking their season. We have 5 categories to go through and put every player into. They are outstanding, good, average, poor and terrible. Now, given that Bradford City finished 4th in League One for our first season back at this level, I don't think there'll be many players in at terrible, which compared to the 21-22 season, for example, what 4 or 5 years ago, is a big positive and credit to Graham Alexander of the squad and team that he's built over the last couple of seasons. So if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 200 likes on today's video would be massively appreciated. We'll get into things straight away then, and we'll kick things off with Sam Walker. How would you assess his Bradford City season? For me, I would say he's had a poor season.
Yeah.
I think he started out the season quite well, a couple of clean sheets in there, and to be fair, did actually quite well with the clean sheets, but his save percentage isn't great, and you look at, there's a lot of mistakes in there this season for me. I think the big standouts towards maybe the back end of the season, you look at Burton away, the first goal in there, Wimbledon away, you think the first goal there, which maybe you could argue tilt, but there's obviously a fair few others along the way. You think Leighton Orient at home possibly as well, and I know there's definitely some more in there. But like I said, at the start of the season, he started out quite well, some good saves in there. I think Stockport away, probably the big standout, but I do think on the whole, he's had a poor season. It's a position we need to improve in the summer.
Definitely poor. I do just want to start off with saying that Stockport save was probably one of the best saves I've seen from a Bradford City goalkeeper, or even live by any goalkeeper. It was unbelievable. To get down so low, at the time of the game that it was as well, fought the ball in the back of the net, so great save. And he has made a lot of great saves, but unfortunately he's made far too many errors that have led to goals. Too many errors that could have led to goals as well, with his poor distribution, decision making at times as well. And probably cost us a good 10 to 15 points a season. Definitely have to improve on him in the summer.
Wigan away, the second goal, where he gets beaten by that tame shot from outside the penalty.
Yeah.
That's another one.
It's catalogue, isn't there?
What do you make of the Barnsley goal, the Reyes Cleary one? How would you assess that one? I think for his positioning when the shot gets taken, I have no problem with that, but it's the way that he tries to catch it as he's going back into net rather than tip it over that I have the problem with for that one.
That's what I mean. Sometimes his decision making is baffling. Like, why would you try to catch that?
He has been a good servant to us, but I do think next season is where he maybe becomes a bit more of a backup, because he seems a great character around the dressing room.
Yeah, good lad. You need them.
But I think the top of League One's just a bit too far for Sam Walker.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to be fair, last season I was thinking top end of League 2 could be a bit too far. He's an average League 2 goalkeeper, so he can come in and do a job.
He's not really played that much football across his career. You know, he's been like a number 1 starting keeper.
No, he's always been a backup, hasn't he? But yeah, poor season, unfortunately.
Yeah. We are continuing with a bit of negative, I'd say, next. Joe Hilton, I'd probably put him in the same category. Not really played that much football. I think just 3 EFL trophy appearances, but Donny away, I remember specifically there, he did not cover himself in much glory. He gave away a penalty at home to Grimsby as well in that game. I think you look at the amount of errors that Sam Walker's made, and the fact Joe Hilton didn't even get a sniff goes to show really the standard of him, and I think he's probably one that won't get a new contract this summer.
No, he won't. I don't like swapping goalkeepers, to be fair, so even if we had a good backup, I wouldn't want to play him if a keeper makes a mistake, because he's then under pressure. Basically like what you saw with Kingsley against Atleti. You know, he makes mistakes, the pressure's on him, and he's being thrust into an awkward position, and that's what happens with goalkeepers when they're second choice. So I'm not a fan of that. But I can't judge Hilton because I don't watch those under 21 cup games, so I haven't seen him, so I'd have to say average.
So I know we've had a pretty negative start to this, but we're not going to include any of the players that were here in the first half of the season because it just does feel a little bit pointless. So Ibu Toure next up then, came in from Stockport in the summer with a lot of pedigree behind him, and I think he certainly lived up to that expectation. I think there's a conversation between the top 2 categories. I think given where we finished in the season, the amount of games that Ibu Toure played and how consistent that he was, I know he has sometimes his limitations going forward, but I think he's had an outstanding season. I've been really impressed with Toure. Defensively, very rarely gets beat 1v1. To say he's 5'9", 5'10", he wins quite a lot in the air. I like Toure. I think he's had a really good season.
Top tier?
I think I'd put him top tier, yeah.
That's a bit high.
You reckon?
I'm debating average or good.
Average?
Yeah.
When you think about what our expectation were at the start of the season,
yeah, but
compared to the rest of the team in there and the amount of games that he's played.
Yeah, but to him, I expect him to be one of our best players.
I think he will.
I don't think he will.
I personally would go outstanding.
I like him. I do like him, but I think he's average for League One.
I think he suits playing left centre back more than left wing back in our system, but I think he suits left back and a back four the best.
Yeah, he's not a wing back. He's not a wing back and he's not a centre back. So just play back four, Graham. That's what I'd suggest. But yeah, he can't take a man on. Sometimes at the back post he does get a bit lost.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There has been a few. Reading, Luton.
Mansfield, I think he got done on the back post for an Aikens goal.
That was Kavanagh.
Was it?
Yeah. Easy mistake to make. Easy mistake to make.
No, it was because the person I was with were blaming Toy for that. That's why I said that.
I feel like it was Kavanagh.
You know who you are.
Right.
You'll be watching.
So, Ibou Touré?
Yeah, I'll go good.
Good?
He has had a good season.
Joe Wright next up then. Started out the season very strong. Then was making a fair few mistakes. I think he scored an own goal at home to Everton. Wimbledon at home got bullied a bit by Matty Stevens. Was out of the side for quite a while. I think last appearance was Huddersfield away and then didn't play regularly. Didn't start a game for a lot of months after that, but it's ended the season pretty strongly. I thought it did quite well in the final few games in those big matches against Plymouth and Bolton, for example. I would personally say Joe Wright's had an average season. He's had some good moments. He's also had some pretty poor moments. I think it probably balances out about average. Probably played about an average amount of games as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I did like him at those. Before that Doncaster game, I thought he was one of our best players. But that Doncaster game was absolutely...
Jordan Gibson goal.
Yeah, it was a shocker, wasn't it?
On the ball, he's got his limitations, and that's why I think he struggled a lot playing in the middle of the back three, because especially compared to Baldwin, he's nowhere near the passing ability. But I think aerially, against actually the more physical strikers, the taller ones, I think he does well against. The smaller ones, I do think he struggles a little bit against. But when we want him to play Baldwin in the middle, I think he struggles a bit as a wide centre back, and he gets caught out with his lack of pace. He reminds me a bit of a League One Neil Byrne.
Yeah, that's right. He does. He is in it, but I think he'd be much better in a four, Joe Wright.
Yeah, I think
with a quick centre back next to him, rather than in a three. I do think he gets a bit lost in there. He also got bullied by Wareham, didn't it? Exeter.
Yeah.
Like I say, with the small strikers he struggles, but I think he's been competent. I think he's come in and done a decent job when he's been on it. And at back end of the season, when we needed someone who were solid enough, he definitely was that rock out of the back for us, and he's had an average season. Like I say, he's had highs and lows. In
the current Bradford City squad, if we were to play a back four, who partners Joe Wright?
Back four? Well, I don't know, because I don't think Tote can play in a two.
Touré, Baldwin?
No.
Kelly?
It'd have to be Pennington.
Pennington? Who would you play on the left side then? Because I think both of them are not great on the left foot. I think Joe Wright's had an average season. Josh Nerthel next up then. Now this is a really interesting one for me because I thought first 2 months of the season I thought we'd signed like a player that's going to go on and play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because you look at the pace, the explosiveness, the ability on the ball, but he took a dip around October, November sort of time and he never recovered from that. Was that the team for Brad Halliday as well throughout the entire December, and Halliday had already agreed to move on to, I think it was Dundee that he went to in the end by that point as well. He knew he was leaving and he still managed to displace him. He eventually got back in the side and then was competing with Ashby. But I think started out the season incredibly. Really impressed with him. Scored, I think, in 3 games in a row. Got 4 or 5 assists at the start of the season. But in 2026, I thought he just looked shattered all the time. I think his ability to beat a man seemed to go a little bit, and I think a lot of teams found him out that his touch isn't great and he's very much got to knock it and try and beat you for pace type of thing. And we did see some good moments, you think, at home to Doncaster and at home to Peterborough, the couple of assists that he got there, but I do think on the whole it's still been a good season for Josh Nerthel, but given how he started it I expected him to finish it a lot stronger than what he did. And you look at the playoffs, did nothing in those games, and Bolton's weakest position is their left back, where Nerthel's 1v1 up against him, and I thought he struggled, to be fair.
I think he's at the top end of good, but like I say, he did have a large period where we were nowhere near the level for what we required physically for me, because defensively we were struggling to get back after he'd do a burst going forward, which left us exposed, and going forward, like I say, he did get found out quite a bit because he only has sort of one trick, doesn't he, and getting to the byline and getting the ball in. But he's been one of the most exciting players this season. He's our only player with real pace apart from Tariq Wright, and that were a massive threat for us. And if we didn't have a player like Josh Nerthel, we wouldn't have been up there, because you need someone like him to offer something different, which has been at our expense as well, because like I said, we've been one-dimensional with him. But I think next season he's going to come back and be one of the best players in the league.
I think that the problem with Josh Neufville is the consistency. He was either a 10 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10. He very rarely played as a 6 or a 7 out of 10, and that's what Brad Halliday, who played in his position, was so good at. He was a consistent 7 out of 10 every game, whereas Neufville, his peak was higher, but his trough was also a lot lower as well. So I think I'd still stick him in the good category. I think he still finished the season with 10 goal contributions, but given how well he started it, I did expect a bit more from him. You got anything else to add on there, Phil?
No, I just think he'll have a really good pre-season. I think he'll bulk up a bit, and I think he's going to come back a really good player next season.
Moving on then to Aidan Baldwin next. I think towards the back end of the last campaign, a lot of Bradford fans would have been happy to see the back of Aidan Baldwin, given what happened away at Doncaster and him almost nearly costing us, not single-handedly, but obviously he did do something very stupid in that game. Came back this season and I think looks a much better player in League 1 than what he did in League 2. I know he missed a couple of months of the season through injury that he picked up away at Cardiff. Obviously had the red card as well at home to Leyton Orient, which I still think now was very harsh. But I think Aidan Baldwin's been one of our best performers this season. I think on the ball he's our best centre-back. I think defensively, he's not the tallest centre-back, but he does quite well against so physical strikers. I think he's got a bit of that shithousery in him as well. I think Baldwin, I'd say he's had an outstanding season to be fair. I think he's been in contention for our player of the year. If Point and Sarcevic didn't get the goal contributions that they did, and maybe Baldwin didn't pick up his injury, I think he could have been right up there in contention for that. I was really impressed with Baldwin when he played. Probably our most important centre-back, and I think it's going to be important that we try and tie him down in a new deal this summer.
Yeah, I think he's been one of our most important players. I'd say he's in the top 3 best players of the season for the impact that he's had, for the role that he plays in the team.
And level of importance as well. We cannot physically play our system with the diags with any other centre-back. It has to be Aidan Baldwin.
Not Kieran Kelly.
No, which I accidentally just clicked on there.
Yeah, he's so good on the ball. But one thing I've noticed, someone told me, he's actually not good at short passes. The easy balls. I think at Bolton he played one which went straight to him and they nearly had a chance from it. So he does have a bit of a lack of concentration sometimes, a lack of focus, like we saw in the second leg against Bolton. But that's really the only mistake that comes to mind of seeing from him. I can't name too many mistakes from him. He's been a goal threat as well, like we saw against Blackpool and Wickham with good away goals, and won us both them games with them goals. And like I say, on the ball he's been absolutely superb. He's been like Andre Pirlo as a centre back in there, and and defensively he went up a level, because he looked suspect sometimes in League 2, whereas in League 1 he looked really assured and confident in what he was doing.
I think he's not the only player as well that maybe wasn't so good in League 2 for us, but has really stepped up to League 1. We'll move on to Kieran Kelly next, who didn't play that much football for Bradford City. I think just 3 or 4 appearances in 2026. There's obviously no sugarcoating it. He wasn't great in a lot of the games that he did play, and League 1 does seem to be a step too far for Kieran Kelly. I do think it was smart to give him a 1-year deal in the summer to try and see if he could get back to that pre-injury sort of form, because I think there's clearly a very good player in Kieran Kelly, but you look at the games that he's played in 2026, 3-0 defeat away at Mansfield, 3-1 defeat away at Wimbledon, 3-0 defeat away at Lincoln, and obviously came on for the last couple of minutes against Exeter. Not great, but I don't think has played enough and made too many errors to be in terrible, but I'll probably still put him in poor.
Terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't think that's a bit harsh?
No.
I know he's not been great and he has made mistakes this season.
What can you make that he's done good?
He's still contributed to a few wins and a few points.
Yeah, but has he had a good performance?
I can't remember off the top of my head. He's not played often enough.
Every player's contributed, so I don't want to dig anyone out. But I sort of am, because I've got to. But I think he's been terrible. If I had to describe him, terrible. He's not done all good. He's not had one good performance. Even when he came on for Exeter in a couple of minutes, he had a bad touch.
I don't remember that.
I do. I had a bad touch.
I'm surprised you can remember anything from Exeter.
I know.
Anything else to add? Or do you think he's just been terrible?
Terrible. There's nothing more to say. Sorry.
I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think he's played often enough to be terrible. I think you've got to play a lot of games.
Yeah, but you've just said it. 3-0, 3-0,
I know.
3-1.
I know. But if he was doing that every game, he'd be terrible.
He is.
No, but he didn't play
last
every
4
game.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was he not a big part to play in that?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I also think in those games, it's the Kelly crew is what it's been labelled. It's not just Kelly who's come in. He brings in a lot of the fringe players, and then he's part of a losing team because there's a lot of League 2 quality in there. I don't think he's good enough for League 1. I don't think he'll get a new deal this summer, but I think terrible. Think about the word terrible. I think that's harsh. I think there's other players on this list that have been worse than Kieran Kelly this season.
Yeah, but I don't think he's poor. I just think he's worse.
I think he's had this... Think about the amount of errors that Sam Walker's had, individual errors. Think about the amount of individual errors Kieran Kelly's had.
But you balance it out with how many good saves he's made.
Well, Kelly's done some good things this season. He's probably had some good... He contributed to the clean sheet home to Port Vale. 1-0 win at home to Port Vale. So he has still had some good moments. Curtis Till next up then, and I think there's a little bit to be discussed here because we know that in both the playoff games he was poor, especially on the ball. He really did not thrive in the playoff matches. Played the first couple of games...
He did not thrive?
No, he didn't thrive.
It's a bit of an understatement.
He didn't thrive. First couple of games of the season before his injury looked pretty strong and comfortable, and we know when he came in the summer there was a lot of doubters around Curtis Still. Obviously got that hamstring injury away at Doncaster and wasn't seen for 3 or 4 months, something like that. Came back into the side, was a monster away at Blackpool from what I remember. He was very good for us in that game, and there's obviously a number of other big standouts of Curtis Tilt where, you know, he's put in some last minute blocks or tackles, all that sort of stuff, or he's running up the left wing, which I've never understood with Curtis Tilt, because anytime the ball's at his feet, when he's under no real pressure, he looks very nervous. But then when he's got 3 players around him, he seems to dribble around them like they're not even there. I would say on the whole, Curtis Tilt has had a good season. There has been some errors in there and some big errors to highlight, but I don't think many times it's cost us and we've actually conceded from a Curtis Tilt error. You never feel comfortable when he's on the ball, but he always gives 110% for the shirt. You know what you're going to get from Curtis Till. Yes, he's limited in certain aspects, but that's why he's signed for a newly promoted club in League One. I would say on the whole, he's had a good season.
And let's not forget how many people were, you know, in those comments when he signed, saying how bad of a signing he was. And let's be fair, how many people really watched him when he was at Salford. I actually thought it was a pretty good signing. You know, I think I said he was about like a 6 or 7. He'll do the job for us. And he did more than that for us. He's had a really good season. His top end that good for me because of the impact that he's had. Like I said, the effort levels. You don't ask for much, but you just want someone to give 110%. You want someone to go into a tackle, be committed, and you want someone to play the game how you'd want to play if you were a fan. And he definitely plays like that. He's one of the worst footballers I've ever seen. He is.
I assume you mean that in terms of technical ability.
Yeah.
In terms of technical ability.
Yeah, he's one of the worst footballers I've ever seen.
But in terms of an athlete, I think he's very good.
He's one of the best.
Yeah.
And in terms of his mentality, he's one of the best.
But that's why, again, he's playing at League One level.
No, but that's also why a lot of people love him. You don't have to be the best footballer. You know, that's why we were in the top 6, because we had a team who weren't the best. If you look at the team of the season, not a lot of them got in. You know, if you're comparing our squad to Bolton and Stockport and Cardiff and Lincoln, it's not really a contest. But as a team and the togetherness and the committed force that we were, mentally we're one of the best teams in the league, physically and as well. But technically, we didn't really have it, did we?
I mean, he got a lot of bookings as well, did Curtis Still. Was he on like 13 yellows, and he did miss 4 months of the season?
Yeah, and that's not bad.
No, sometimes you got to take one. Like, look at the first half against Bolton where he cleans out Osei Tutu on the edge of the box. Sometimes you've just got to stick a foot in.
Yeah, and you know, they weren't all for dissent, unlike Powers, where most of them were silly ones for dissent. But also, when I say it wasn't that bad, when he signed, do you remember how many red cards he got for Salford?
I think, did he have 4 last season?
He had, maybe 4 or 5. He had a lot of red cards for Salford and a lot of daft ones. I mean, I remember watching him play Doncaster last season, and he got sent off in the last minute for kicking the ball away, I think. He made a stupid foul, which were booking, and then he either kicked ball away or had a word with the ref, and he sent him off for it in the last minute, and I think they ended up drawing or losing, which were a big game for them, which made them lose out on playoffs, I think. So I was worried when I saw that, thinking he could lose his head quite easily. And a few times you thought he could, but he was really disciplined at knowing when to just hold back a bit as well.
Very good self-control, which I think is a credit to him because he's terrifying. If I were a referee, I wouldn't want him on the pitch. I'd be looking at any reason to get him off because he's scary. And how many times do you see a 6'4" centre-back attempt the amount of overhead kicks that he does?
I know.
One criticism I do have is he is 6'4", and you don't go into the box for not penalties. They wouldn't be allowed in the box for corners or free kicks. He's always standing on the halfway line. There must be a reason behind that.
He did earlier, didn't he?
Yeah.
But Joe Wright came in.
But surely you'd rather have Josh Nerthel on the halfway line, pace, Not really good in the air. So, Curtis Till, good season for Curtis Till.
Really good.
Yeah, impressed with Curtis Till. Let's move on then to Matt Pennington, who I think I'm going to put him in the good category as well. I think he's been a little bit of an unsung hero this season.
I'm going higher.
You went higher?
Yeah,
well then I'll let you overtake then.
Can you name any mistakes he made?
I feel like there's been one or two. Reading away. First goal, he heads it up in the air.
Right, well, you can count that out with his goal that he scored.
It was a great goal. I don't know where he's pulled that from, because I never thought Matt Pennington would have that in the locker.
Can we give that goal a season?
No.
Why?
No way.
Why?
I can name 3 goals better off the top of my head right now. Alright, I can name Jensen Metcalf, both of his goals.
Pennington's better.
No way.
Yeah.
Especially not the Cardiff one. Tyreek Wright's volley against Doncaster.
It was good, but Pennington's better.
I could also name you...
We've scored a lot of good goals, haven't we?
We have scored some good goals this season.
Tommy Lee, Cardiff.
Tommy Lee at Cardiff, yeah. So
that might be.
Yeah.
Nah, still Pennington. He's a centre-back. He had no right to score that.
He's missed it. I think we can all... Pennington has not got that in the locker. As much as I think... I'm putting him in the top end of good.
Yeah.
I think he's been a consistent 7 out of 10 every time he's played. And he's another one that's committed. And that's all that I ask for, just commit. And he commits to the press. He's always first in there. He's picked up a couple of bookings by doing it, but he's committed. Rotherham at home, you look at that, he just wants it more. And that's why we finished in the playoffs, and that's why Rotherham went down. He charges him through 2 people, heads it in the back of the net.
Can't remember it.
Technically, again, on the ball, not the greatest player that we've got, as we saw away at Barnsley, for example. But again, committed, defends, body on the line. You think, was it Doncaster where he did a goal line clearance at home?
Yeah.
You just think things like that. I think Pennington's had a really good season, and to think Blackpool fans were happy to see him leave. He's a former Leeds man. You know, it could have gone the opposite way for Matt Pennington, but I think he's been reliable in right centre back this season.
I think he's been outstanding. I do. I can't name much what he's done wrong. I think he'd be getting highlighted as being really good on the ball if it weren't for how good bowling was. I think he's really composed on the ball, and that'd be getting a lot more highlighted. He steps in really well when he's playing on that right side, and overlapped Nerfel and been a really good support for him. And like we say, for how Nerfel leaves that position exposed by sometimes how he gets too high and doesn't sometimes track back because he's knackered, Pennington's had to cover for that. Whereas if you look at Till, Torre helps him out a lot more, and whoever's on that side in midfield, where Pennington, he's been exposed quite often, and I think he was really unfortunate not to play a part in the end of the season.
I was just going to ask you that. Do you think it was the right choice to play Joe Wright over Pennington?
I don't think it was the wrong choice, but I would have started Pennington.
Especially in the home game, I think you needed a bit more technical ability to help us build. So I'll say good, you say outstanding for Pennington.
Yeah.
Final defender then, Harrison Ashby. Not a lot to say about him. Came in January. 1 or 2 starts, really. I think for what we expected, I'd say we're pretty poor. Had a good 45 minutes, second half away at Wickham, but apart from that, I thought really flattered to deceive.
I've got to go average because he hasn't played enough. I think genuinely, if he had won 5 games, it'd have been,
I do think with Nerfield's form second half of the season, Ashby should have been given more of an opportunity, especially with him playing about 50 games in the Championship last 2 years.
Yeah.
I think he should have been given a...
He'll get a move next summer, and he'll be back at top end of League One, and he'll play about 50 games, and he'll be one of the best right backs.
I could see him like a Mansfield, something like that, really contributing.
I can see him higher than that.
Really?
Yeah. That second half against Wickham, I saw a player in there. I think he's really good on ball. I think he looks...
Seems a good character as Ashby. You always see him at post-match and all that sort of stuff with... Even when he's not in the squad or on use sub, all that sort of stuff.
I was disappointed with him at Barnsley with that goal.
Yeah, got caught out, didn't he? Out of position.
Yeah, but I think there's a player in there. I really do.
Let's move on then to the midfield. Max Power up first, and I know he's somebody that causes a little bit of debate amongst the fan base. I think he's got a little bit of that Richie Smallwood syndrome about him, where he does certainly split the fan base, takes every set piece, which... I think especially second half of the season our set pieces weren't great, especially with a lot of short corners that we tried, and a lot of them didn't really work second half of the season. But I would say for a Bradford City captain to come in through the door and take over that responsibility of Smallwood, he was a promotion winning captain at Bradford City. As much as I've been critical at him at times, I thought he was the only player who showed up for Bradford over both legs in the playoffs. I thought he was probably our best player over that. You see his commitment. What lets him down is the discipline, the dissent at times, the amount of bookings that he picked up for that. And obviously we did miss him for a few games because of the amount of yellows that he picked up. I think finished the season on 14 bookings, but didn't pick up a single injury, started 43 league games. I'd probably put him in good. I think there's a conversation between good and average for me. I'd probably go good.
I'm thinking good and outstanding.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
didn't score a goal, Bradford City this season. Do you need more goals from midfield?
Do you need to do?
Well, you look at Power and Metcalf got 2 goals between them all season.
Yeah.
And 90 games maybe between them?
Yeah, but then compared to
Patterson scored, Lee scored, got rid of them in Jan.
When we think of Gilead and Smallwood, it was quite similar to that, wasn't it? And unlike that season, we were relying on Andy Cook to score 30 goals. We hadn't had that, but we had, Joe Wright got about 3 goals a day, Pennington got 2, Baldwin got 2, Nerfel scored a few, Turvey might have scored a couple, so we had a lot more goals coming from the back line this season, and I don't really want my defensive midfielder to be scoring too much. I don't need him to. He wins the ball a lot.
Outstanding or good?
I think I'm going outstanding because I think I'd have said that before April. I think he had a bit of a drop off towards the end of the season, and that's what's in my mind. Whereas when you think he's a captain who's won a lot of promotions at this level, he came in and he's a massive leader in the dressing room. You can tell the way he commands himself. Players will look up to him, and Alexander obviously clearly rates him and as his player on the pitch. And I think he's had a massive impact on this season. And if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have had as good of a season if we still kept Smallwood. And that's again credit to Alexander for making that change, because I don't think many fans would have done.
I think it was certainly a difficult decision, especially having said you're going to offer him a deal, to then go back on that. I think is a big call, but I do think it was the right decision. I think as much as I did like Richie Smallwood last season, I do think Power is better than him. And again, I've criticised him at times this season. He's made mistakes. Look at Mansfield away for the second or third goal that they score. That is ultimately an error from Max Power, but I do think we've scored some decent goals from his set pieces as well, especially first half of the season.
He's made a lot of mistakes, but he also owns up to them. Yeah. He does a lot of interviews.
A lot of post matches when we lose, yeah.
Smallwood avoided a lot of them. But a lot of people forget about the Smallwood stuff in the summer. As a lot of people are like, that is a massive decision that's going to go wrong. And then when Power were the first signing in, it sort of changed the whole mood.
Wasn't Power announced before it was announced that Smallwood was leaving?
Yeah.
Because obviously it was announced originally Smallwood was getting a new deal.
Yeah.
Obviously his season didn't turn out well with Tranmere and done quite well at Bristol Rovers, to be fair.
It's a good job that we didn't have Power and Smallwood in midfield together.
God. Well,
that's what the thought was at the time.
A Smallwood-esque type of player, Lee Evans next up, came in January from Blackpool. 3 starts, I want to say. 2 obviously when Power was suspended, was subbed off at half-time away at Wickham. How do you assess Lee Evans' season? I'd probably stick him in poor. He didn't play loads, didn't particularly impress. I thought was rushing quite a lot in the Stockport game. Was poor against Wickham, but I mean he literally barely played, didn't he?
Yeah.
But did quite well, to be fair, away at Burton, with that assist for Tyreek Wright's goal.
I didn't watch that.
You didn't? I'm happy to argue poor or average either way.
Average. You can't judge these players when they aren't had a run. Like Stockport, he was playing that game because he was trying to over-impress.
Yeah. He was rushing a lot of things, I felt.
Yeah, and that's because he knows he's got to impress because Power's coming straight back in, and he did.
Ultimately, I think he'll be in League 2 next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him getting a new deal with us.
Wigan?
No, I don't think so. He's not a Caldwell type of midfielder, is he? You need high energy to play in a Caldwell system.
Ryan Wood's in high energy.
Ryan Woods don't play for Wigan, he plays for bloody Oldham. Move on to Anthony Sarcevic. There's not loads to say. Outstanding.
Yeah, easy.
Without the injuries, he'd be...
Player of the year for me.
Yeah, for what the stigma around Sarcevic is for him at League 1 level, I think he massively stepped up. 11 goals, 3 assists in 30-odd games.
Yeah, outstanding.
With a couple of injuries in there, 34 years of age, the high press, the commitment, loves the club, I love him. Outstanding season.
Yeah, there's very little to say about someone so good. I do just want to clarify that it does seem very much that, like Sarcevic brushed over it because he had such a good season. And then you've got, your poor players who you spend a lot of time talking about it, and that it doesn't feel right, does it?
No, it does feel. But I think when there's individual mistakes, you can highlight that much more, and especially when there's no debate to be had. Anthony Sarcevic's had an outstanding season.
Yeah, there's the debate to be had if someone's not done well.
Tyreek Wright next up. Then I think
I'm going in. Outstanding.
Yeah, I can certainly hear you right. I think it was either the very top of good, only because of he did have some injuries at times.
Yeah.
But I think I was not a fan of him at all in League Two. I was disappointed that we brought him back for a third spell, but I think we've now been able to say that Valley Parade is a home for Tyreek Wright. And you look at, he massively stepped up in March, scored some really important goals. And that's been always the problem for Tyreek Wright, not enough goal contributions, but I think got 7 or 8 by the end of the season. Plays much better in wing-back for me than in the left of a front three, but I think we certainly missed him in that April sort of period when he was out with that hamstring injury. So, yeah, and again, another one. Outstanding for me, Tyreek Wright.
Yeah, when you look at how he's grown as a player and as a man, to come back from the setbacks that he's had from injuries, from the criticism he got at Plymouth, coming back to us and then getting even more criticism because we want the same player that we were expecting, to being played in different positions, to be asked to completely new role in playing as a left back and a left wing back for us, and to get on with it, and then grow in that position as well to become, I think, one of the best wing backs in the league when he's been there. I have liked him when he's played further up as well, when he's had to play through injuries with Poynton and Sarcevic. I think he's offered us something different, and he's been an outstanding performer from how far he's come.
The thing with Tyreek Wright, he is the definition of a confidence player. When he's got confidence, he is so good. But when he's not got any confidence, he just plays within himself, doesn't he? I think with Tyreek Wright. But I think defensively he's come on so much over the last year. Like you feel comfortable when Tyreek Wright plays left back in a back four, whereas you can't necessarily say the same about Josh Nerfel on the other side in a back four.
No, but for going forward as well, looking back at last season, how nervous he looked, how
never wanted to take a man on.
Never didn't want to put a cross in. Didn't want to shoot. He would just play it easy, play it safe.
You look at the Port Vale goal.
Yeah.
Cuts inside on the right foot, having dribbled 25 yards, sticks it top corner.
Yeah, loads of moments like that.
That didn't happen last season.
Never in a million years. So, he's been one of the exciting players to watch, and he's been, so much improved. Really good to see.
So outstanding for Tyreek Wright. Jensen Metcalf next up then. Didn't play loads at the start of the season. It was quite often Tommy Lee, Alex Patterson in there. Metcalf struggling to even get on the bench for Bradford City. But when he got into the side, I think certainly proved his worth. There was periods in the season where I think he was the best midfielder in the division, like in the middle of February. But then you look at maybe towards the end of the season where he kind of dropped off a little bit, maybe because of a lack of competition really in that role, but I think still played over 40 times in the league for Bradford City and obviously scored some great goals in there. What category would you put him in?
Outstanding easily.
I'm happy for outstanding. Yeah.
Why?
I do think by the expectation, I just think because he didn't play that much in the first half of the season, I don't want to just put everyone in outstanding, but I think from the expectation, I like Metcalf last season at Chesterfield, but then he came in 3-year deal, great young player, and I think with another full pre-season under his belt, I think that'll do him the world of good going into next season. And he's had a full year now at League One. I think he'll only kick on and get better. Yeah, I'm happy for outstanding.
Do you think he'll stay?
Yeah, I think there's no player that we've currently got that should move on to the Championship this summer. I think they need at least another 6 to 12 months at League One level, and that's every player at the minimum.
Yeah, but that's not football, a minute.
No, I think there's certainly going to be offers, there's going to be bids, but I think Metcalf, for me, has probably got the biggest ceiling. I think he's got all the attributes to be a Premier League player, whereas I think maybe certain other players, like Poynton, I think lacks a bit of pace to maybe play in the Prem. I think Nerfil, I think his touch and that technical ability lacks a bit to play in the Premier League, but I think Metcalf, he's got all the attributes to play in the Premier League one day.
What's his value at the minute?
Value for me, I'd be disappointed if we got less than 3 million for Metcalf.
3 million?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I think people need to realise that we're an established League One club, we're a big club, we don't need to sell. He's got a lot of years left on his contract. He's got a lot of potential. I think Poynton, if we got any less than 5 for him, I'd be disappointed. You look at the values that are getting thrown around for Ballard and Talai, 10 million.
Yeah, but midfielders are different, aren't they? Strikers are hard to come by.
I would agree, but I don't see Talai or Ballard playing in the Prem. I see Metcalf playing in the Prem. I don't see Jamie Walker's Premier League pressing in the Prem.
Oh yeah, I said that, didn't I? That went well.
So Metcalf in outstanding, yeah?
Yeah, easy.
Nick Powell, next up. For me, I'd go average. Missed a lot of the season through injury. When he played prior to his injury, I thought he was pretty poor. When he came back in the second half of the season, I thought he was quite good. But again, missed 7 months of the season through injury. Barely played any games. I don't think should probably be renewed in the summer. I think there's a good player in Nick Powell, but you can't afford to be paying him for 10 games a season for me. I'd stick him in average. Scored a good goal away at Barnsley.
Yeah, I'd say average. It
He's
will,
done all right,
it will low risk on it. I don't think we'll have shot ourselves in the foot.
No, I think he could be on a very small base salary with a big appearance fee. That's what I think he'll be on.
Yeah, it's got to be on it. And like I say, he's got a couple of good goals at end. Give us a different option compared to the strikers we had. He were good in the air, and technically, a bit similar to Kevin McDonald actually. How technically you can tell he's played at a high level and he could play at that top level, whereas physically he can't do it anymore, and he's sort of out with his depth physically.
Didn't play more than 45 minutes in a single game for us.
No, that's not good enough.
Like, you can't be affording to carry players like that.
No.
As good as they are, but I don't even. It's not like when he played, he was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He was all right.
He did a job.
He was average.
Average.
Bobby Poynton, again, another one outstanding. First season in League One, 10 goals, 3 assists, couple of injuries in there. Missed him in for the playoffs. I know that he started the second leg, but he want a fully fit Poynton at all, I don't think. But for a first season in League One, I don't think anyone would have backed him to get 13 goal contributions in 30 games. I think outstanding, definitely.
Yeah, it's got to be on it, really. I do think there's a question to be had over his injuries at the minute. He's got a recurring ankle injury on it, and if that keeps to persist, it's one to watch with him, and that's only down to us because we're too reliant on him. At a young age, the amount of games he's played for us, the weight on his shoulders as well. We definitely need to get competition in for him because
other players need to step up as well. Other players who've been wanting to play left wing all season and then get the opportunity to play left wing and then don't take it.
They do.
They need to step up.
But did you ever feel like they were going to be good enough?
I thought there was potential with some of especially the ones that we brought in January, like Sibley and Joe White, especially Louis Sibley. He's played a lot of games at League One and Championship level. I expected a lot more from him. We'll come on to him in a moment. But
outstanding from Poynton.
Yeah, Poynton outstanding. Joe White, he came in from Newcastle. I had no expectations with this one. For somebody who got 3 sub cameos at Leyton Orient in the first half of the season, who were in the relegation zone, why we ever thought he'd be good enough to be playing for a team that are challenging at the top in a League One, his first half appearance away at Huddersfield was genuinely one of the worst I've ever seen in a Bradford City shirt. I'd have taken 30 Dara Costellos over him every day. I'd have taken Costello with one leg over Joe White. He was that bad. I think he was terrible. I know he only played a couple of games, but I thought he was awful. Terrible. Shocking. Never going to make it. How was he on over 10 grand a week?
Is he actually?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it was the Peterborough chairman said that he was.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't add anything else. I don't think we were that bad at Huddersfield, but
he couldn't control the ball. He couldn't control his legs at times. I thought he looked like he'd won a raffle. I think me and you would have done a better job than him. He were awful, and I can't remember another game that he played for us.
No, I can't. Yeah. Poor. I'm going to go poor because he didn't get enough chances. I don't like judging people off one chance.
You've got to make an impact.
I know, but I think it's true in life. I believe in second chances, and everyone makes a mistake, and he never got.
You can't make mistakes away at Huddersfield. I'm sorry, that's too big of a game for
he
this football club.
He shouldn't have been playing.
Alexander shouldn't have thrown him in. I do agree. But when you have been,
how old is he?
It's like I throw you in the deep end and you can't swim. What are you going to do? Oh, well, I can't swim. I'm just going to sink. Or are you going to fight? You're going to try?
Yeah, but I can swim.
Yeah, but if you couldn't?
But I can.
I've chopped your arms off, chopped your legs off, I've thrown you in. What are you going to do?
Die.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah,
you're like Joe White.
Well,
you know better than Joe White.
Well, his career died at City, actually. Yeah.
He did. He's going to be in League 2 again. He'll probably end up at Crewe or somewhere like that.
Yeah, it will.
So, terrible for me, poor for you.
Poor, yeah.
George Lapsley, average, I'd go. Started out the season, played a couple of games.
I'm going outstanding.
No way. He played 5 league starts maybe all season.
Credit to him.
Did he score a goal? I know he got a one against Everton's under 21s.
No, see, counts.
You said you don't watch them games.
No, that's why I couldn't think of it.
George Lapsley, I'll stick him in average. He didn't play enough. He did well when he played, and he always works hard as Lapsley.
No, I'm not having that. It's got to be top end of good, at least.
Come on, man. No, he barely played.
I don't care. That's testament to his character.
He's a good character. I like Lapsley, but he barely played.
I don't care.
He should have played over Joe White Huddersfield. Louis Sibley next. I'm going to put him in poor. Got a couple more opportunities than Joe White.
looked like the level were a bit too high for him, which I was surprised by. Given the amount of football he's played at League One and Championship level, I expected a lot more from Louis Sibley, and he really did not deliver.
I didn't think he was that bad.
I remember he
I
played.
didn't think he was good. I just didn't.
He
think
played
was
left
that
wing back against Cardiff and just looked all over the place.
Well, he's going to be in left wing
But
back.
he played in attacking midfield away at Blackpool, away at Wimbledon, and just he just anonymous. Like, he barely touched the ball.
Yeah, well, Wimbledon, but did him. He was a ghost, wasn't he?
That was his last appearance, I think.
Yeah.
It's just you need more. You need to, as an attacking midfielder, you need to be impactful, especially with the impact we've seen from Sarcevic and Poynton. You need to do more. I'd think I'd put Sibley.
When you compare him to LAPSLIE.
Yeah. Just graft. That's all we ask. Just graft. Run.
But that's why he can't be average.
I didn't put any averages. I said par.
No, I said LAPSLIE.
Ah.
Because how can you just say he's just that bit more?
No, but you can't put him in good just for working hard. Like, that should be the bare minimum.
Well, yeah, but it isn't, is it? It isn't the bare minimum.
Which we'll come on to someone in a moment. I think you might be able to see here who's next up.
Right, we'll just go straight on to him then.
You want to go to Stephen Humphries?
Yeah.
How would you assess Stephen Humphries' season? Bear in mind, you put George Lapsley at the top of good.
Poor.
I'm happy with Paul.
Yeah, it's not terrible because there's a player in there. That's the frustrating.
He's had good
I want to
moments.
grab him by the neck and just get him.
He's so
running.
frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I think that's what every fan base has always said about Stephen Humphries. He's the most frustrating player in the world because he could play in the Championship.
He could even do higher. If he wasn't so greedy, if he made better decision making, if he put my faith in,
So if he improved everything about himself, he'd be a Premier League player.
if he got more power in his shots, if he had more composure.
I just think
He
it's
looks,
work rate, isn't it? That's the problem.
Do you know what it is as well? And this isn't just about his looks, because I know a lot of people like that. I don't say it, but a lot of people, he looks the part, doesn't he?
He looks like a footballer.
Yeah, but it's on the ball as well. You know, he's doing all the lollipops, he's dropping the shoulder. Yeah, he just looks the part, but he's not.
No.
And that's a frustrating thing. Do it. Do it.
Flaggate didn't help his case, did it? To do that so early on, like we mentioned it in the season review, whatever your opinions are on that, personally, I honestly could not care less what a footballer gets up to in his spare time, but it caused a lot of divide, especially on social media, and when you're playing for Bradford City, you have to graft, and unfortunately he's not a grafter. He still managed, I think, 7 goals, 2 assists, which is a pretty decent return, but for someone who's probably our biggest earner, was our star signing in the summer. We brought him away from a potential promotion contender in Barnsley. I know it didn't obviously transpire out like that for them, but I expected more from Humphries. There was obviously the argument that he should be playing off the left. He played striker majority of the season, but in a lot of his games off the left, he just didn't look interested.
No, he didn't. It's not good enough.
So, Paul for Stephen Humphries?
Yeah, unfortunately, 'cause there
is a great player, and it's so frustrating. Paul Mullin next up then. Terrible. I mean, he came in from Wrexham, spent the first half of the season on loan at Wigan, couldn't even get in their squad, and the amount of goals that they struggled to score at the beginning of the season. Every time he'd come on, he'd foul.
Yeah, more fouls than shots.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you a single shot he had.
No.
Never mind a big chance or out like that.
Couldn't hold up the ball, couldn't touch the ball, couldn't pass the ball.
Just seemed to be a moaning, diving cheat, really.
Yeah.
Which is what we always knew Paul Mullin was from his time at Wrexham. But, yeah, just not a Bradford City player at all. No. More appearances on the overlap than Bradford City towards the end of the season. Caden Jackson came in January. I think a good signing.
Yeah.
That 6 to 8 week injury right in the middle really just killed the momentum that he built. But I think still managed three goals in the end. Obviously the disallowed one against Doncaster on debut as well. All different types of goals. Got one with his right foot. Great volley against Bolton. Header against Peterborough. Left foot finish against Exeter. I think Jackson proved to be a good sign. And I think on the whole, if he has a full season, could be outstanding. But given he only played half season, and even then for half of that he were injured, I don't think he'd be any higher than good.
You know, when you look at his goals, they scream natural goal scorer, don't they? He didn't miss too many big chances. It's his laziness again that annoys me sometimes. He just looks a bit lazy, you know, like if he ain't always in the right position, he doesn't always chase after it after he's lost it. He's like that goal against Bolton, he was offside. I think he should be trying better. He's got to be doing better to get back on side there. He's just stood still. is you've got to anticipate that you've got to get back. And for me, I look at that as a striker, and I think, right, are you lazy or are you actually wanting to work hard? If you're stood offside all the time, and he's always offside, he doesn't try hard enough to get back. And considering the type of team that we are, we've got to get it up and in behind the defence all the time. And if you're offside, it's no good. So too many fouls he gives away. He's always on the floor. I mean, even Bolton, he went down, didn't he? Pleading to be injured a couple of times, and that all frustrates. But he's got some really good goals. He's got pace. He's tricky. I think he's more of a winger than a striker. And I think next season he'll have a much better season and more of an impact.
So what? Good. Yeah, we'll agree on good. Next up then, Will Swan started the season like a house on fire. I think 6 goals in his first 8 games in all competitions. After that, just 2 for the remainder of the season. Hasn't completed 90 minutes for Bradford City since October, Stevenage away. How would you assess Will Swan's first season in Bradford City colours?
Good.
I think he's had a good season as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always really liked Will Swan. I've liked him for a number of years. I was delighted when we brought him in. I was buzzing when he was scoring all the goals at the start of the season, creating chances for him. I think the system certainly suited him. You think that the real high press, when Bradford City were at their peak, the high press, that were perfect for Will Swan, playing as that lone striker. But then when we went more long ball direct, he's not a back-to-goal type of striker. Yes, missed a couple of chances, you think, away at Rotherham, for example. Then got back on the score sheet against Blackpool, missed a big chance against Barnsley, where he volleyed over the bar, scored, though, against Plymouth. Ended the season with 8 goals, I want to say, in all competitions. How would you summarise Will Swan's season, with injuries as well? Very injury hit.
Up to that, really. How can you get 6 goals in your first 8, you have one bad game, and then you don't get in the side for another few months, and then you score when you come back, and then you get injured, and then you don't come back in when you're back from your injury, even when you end up playing with players who can't play as strikers and aren't naturally there, or players without putting the effort in, unlike he was. He's been massively hard done by. I don't think he'll be here next season because Alexander's obviously fallen out with him for whatever reason, and just massively hard done by.
You look at the players that have been playing over Will Swan for a lot of this season. Stephen Humphreys obviously been the big one as the striker, even though he's not a natural striker. Towards the end of the season, Nick Powell getting a lot of the game time around February sort of time, where I think he might have been injured, but obviously Wheatley and Mullin were sharing a lot of the game time as well. Then I do think that he was harshly treated at times as well. And we all know managers have favourites for certain players, like Sarsfield always plays under Alexander, but do you think Will Swan deserved more of a chance this season?
Definitely.
Moving on then to our final player, Ethan Wheatley, to end today's video. What do you make of Ethan Wheatley and another Bradford City January signing?
Terrible.
I'm happy to be on board with terrible.
It's got to be.
I just think he just not good at anything, were he?
No.
Like his link-up play was okay, but for a man who's 6'3", he'd jump and he'd become 4'8". Like he could not hold the ball whatsoever. There was clearly an ego there. There was maybe some attitude problems as well. Never scored. His finishing was terrible. Missed a lot of absolute sitters.
Yeah.
Peterborough at home, Luton away. Some big chances there, which he should have done better with, and he never looked like scoring, did
Port Vale away.
Port Vale away, he had so many opportunities, yeah. He's one of those players that maybe in like 5 years could be a decent League One striker, but for right now, for where we were in January, what we needed, we got rid of an experienced goal scorer in Andy Cook, and we brought in Ethan Wheatley.
Do you know he needs to go to Carlisle?
Why do you say Carlisle?
Mark Hughes is manager, Man U link, that's all really. But
I think he'd suit their system where he scored 20 goals, and that's what he needs.
Just go play somewhere, be the star man, go score loads of goals and build from the bottom again, because he's gone from the top to the bottom, and that's where his ego's at.
Well, you think he was at Man United, went on to Walsall last season, barely kicked a ball, went to Northampton and somehow got a step up and did alright there, but look how they finished the season, and then got a move to Bradford in January. I don't know what we saw in him. Cardiff after him.
Mental. But he's got all the attributes, but he just can't finish.
He needs more application.
Yeah.
Like if he wouldn't challenge for a header, and then he'd be surprised when the ball wouldn't go near him, and then he's no, graft, go and work hard for it.
It's that little thing at Wimbledon away. I remember watching him at half time, and I've never seen someone look so deflated. His head on the floor. He missed an open goal in the training, and his head just on the floor, and he had no interest. And I thought, you're not coming on this pitch. whatever you do, don't bring him on because he ain't going to do it, and he didn't.
You know, I look at some of the players that we've signed over the last year, and I just think, Alexander, they're not your type of players. Why have you brought them in? Yeah. And obviously, Alexander still plays a massive part in our recruitment, but you look at some of the players and you just think that's not what your team is.
How many loans have worked out for us under Alexander?
Adaramola last season, he were a good one. Kayla,
yeah.
Shepherd,
yeah.
But apart from that,
that's it, innit?
All the loans in January were poor. Tom McIntyre barely got a sniff at the start of the season.
I liked him.
I quite liked Tom McIntyre, but he just didn't seem to get a game for whatever reason. But Kelly would. So yeah, we're agreeing on Wheatley and terrible.
Yeah, easy.
So that summarises our ranking of every Bradford City player's season. Obviously, those who ended the season at Bradford City. We've agreed on the majority. There's a few disagreements out there. Let us know what you think overall. Were we right? Were we wrong? Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 200 likes, as we said at the start of today's video, would be massively appreciated. Any final words before we end?
No, just have a good time. Enjoy yourself over the summer, and don't get too down about no City.
Yeah, obviously the games will be back in 6 weeks when pre-season will start all over again. So enjoy the time off. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a break. But from me, from Korban, from anyone else really,
with love from me to you.
Yes, with a lot of love from Korban to you. With an average amount of love really from me. We have a love-hate relationship really. But yeah, appreciate the support as always. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully we'll do some similar style videos to this in the future. If you want to see that, let us know down below. But yeah, hopefully we've not been too harsh on the players that are watching this video. And we'll see you all very soon for another one.
Have a good one.
Have a brilliant one.
Nice, have a good one.
Nah, have a brilliant one.
Nah, have a good one.
Have an outstanding one. Have a terrible one. Honestly, I'm not bothered anymore.
It's harsh. It's awful.